Many of us are afraid of loans and being in debt. We have already seen the dangers of excessive loans, and the result of instant gratification from swiping credit cards. However, it would be a different case if loans are used wisely. Lending actually plays a pivotal role in our economy, contributing to global growth and development. Several major businesses, that are now globally recognized, started with the help of loans like 1. Amazon. Jeff Bezos started Amazon in 1994 with a loan from his parents. Initially an online bookstore, it expanded into a wide range of products and services, becoming one of the world's largest e-commerce companies. 2. Apple. Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak started Apple Computer in 1976. They secured a loan of $250,000 from a former Intel executive, and used it to kickstart production of the first Apple computers, which laid the foundation for the tech giant we know today. 3. Google. Larry Page and Sergey Brin started Google in 1998. Initially operating out of a friend's garage, they received a $100,000 loan from an angel investor. This funding allowed them to develop their search engine technology, which evolved into the global search giant Google is today. 4. Disney. Walt Disney started the Disney Brothers studio in the 1920s, which later became the Walt Disney Company. Disney initially secured a loan from his uncle to produce a series of Alice comedies, which marked the beginning of the Disney empire. 5. Ford Motor Company. Henry Ford founded the Ford Motor Company in 1903. He secured investments and loans to start production of the Model A and later, the Model T, revolutionizing the automobile industry. These examples highlight how loans and initial investments played crucial roles in the early stages of these now major corporations, demonstrating the significance of access to funding in the development and growth of successful businesses. Let's just break down the importance and benefits of credit to make it easier to discuss. 1. Capital formation. You may not believe it, but lending allows individuals, businesses, and governments to access funds beyond their current financial capacity. This access to capital enables them to invest in projects, purchase goods, start businesses, or undertake activities that drive economic growth, even if they don't have all the cash now. They can borrow money, then pay later as they earn revenue. 2. Business expansion and innovation. Loans enable businesses to expand operations, invest in research and development, and innovate. This fosters competitiveness, creates jobs, and enhances productivity within industries, ultimately contributing to economic progress. Without loans, these firms may not be able to buy raw materials, pay employee salaries, and equipment. You can see these examples from the biographies of entrepreneurs. Though not all businessmen have integrity, we should not lump all of them as devils, with horns abusing their employees. For those who don't know, entrepreneurs have so much responsibilities that some won't have time to groom themselves, money to eat decent meals, or stay in a comfortable house. These can go on for many years, until their companies can reach a point where they can provide for all of these needs. 3. Homeownership and real estate development. Mortgages enable individuals to buy homes, which not only fulfills personal aspirations, but also stimulates the construction industry, creating jobs, and fostering urban development in the process. Not all of us can pay fully for a house up front. But, through credit payable for 10 to 25 years, a family can comfortably live in a house now, while paying monthly, until they have fully paid the loan. In some countries, starting families can just make a poorly built bungalow and call that a home for 25 years or more, until some of their kids can afford to build them a new one, or renovate the old home. For the rich who are dreaming to be poor, as many people who succeeded who have experienced the reality of extreme poverty say, it is hard to be really poor. It can be easy to say you want to be poor, if you lived with affluence and money. Not until you experience not being able to eat food, not going to school, or not applying for jobs because you don't have enough now, or proper clothes for an interview. For some jobs and companies, dress codes are important. You can borrow from a friend, but they're not willing to lend those clothes and shoes, up to 1 or 3 months until you can buy a new one from your salary. And, how about transport and food money for all those weeks or months you don't have the salary? Maybe you can avail for a loan if you're qualified, in addition to your mortgage loan. Note also, that those categorized as poor from developed countries are different often from the poor of developing countries. For some, even if they're poor in their country, if they check the equivalent of their money in developing countries, they can buy a home more than the average middle class in that place. And, can buy a car and live comfortably. 4. Education and human capital. Student loans make higher education accessible, allowing individuals to acquire knowledge and skills, leading to better employment prospects and a more skilled workforce, which benefits society as a whole. Education is a lifelong process, but at this point, let's just focus on the case of going to school for now. For developing countries, education, especially college education, can really work wonders for many people. There, they can learn about how the world works, or learn new things they won't learn if they just stayed in high school. The level of education and living conditions vary in developed and developing countries greatly. Some knowledge learned by high school graduates, and through experience in their society in developed countries, can only be achieved more often than not by those in developing countries by college education, work experience, exposure to global events, and foreign people from developed countries. For them, college education really matters. Money for education can come from loans, kind relatives willing to help, and some good friends. Not just that, but clothing or uniforms they can borrow, allowance for books and food, just in case. However, while many are struggling to get educated despite all their troubles, many are also getting married or pregnant early without thinking of child support, or ignoring financial demands of a new family or children, or not seeing the value of further education. No one can really predict the future. And sometimes, we humans are really funny. 5. Infrastructure development. Governments often rely on borrowing to finance infrastructure projects like roads, bridges, schools, and hospitals. These projects contribute to improved living standards and stimulate economic activity. Though we know that not all of those budgets were used carefully or wisely, we can't deny that credit does help in improving our roads, especially if made with all the required materials and measurements. You may be laughing if you know some of the hidden activities of some engineers or contractors when people are not looking. 6. Financial inclusion. Lending can help marginalized or underprivileged individuals access to financial resources they might not otherwise have, empowering them to invest in their future or start businesses. Many can start their bakeries, shops for various or specific products, or provide their services to the public. They just have to put in the knowledge, effort, and time demanded for the next 20 or 50 years to see the progress of their businesses. Lending or credit benefits borrowers, lenders, investors, the economy at large, and societies globally. However, it's important to note that while lending or credit is beneficial, excessive or irresponsible lending can lead to debt crises and economic instability. Striking a balance between access to credit and responsible borrowing is crucial for sustainable economic growth. And to prevent risks of excessive debt burdens or financial instability that could negatively impact both borrowers and lenders, as well as the broader economy. An example is the housing market crash of 2008 in the United States, was largely fueled by irresponsible lending practices, leading to a global financial crisis. So, when using credit, use it wisely. Thanks for watching. Kindly subscribe, like, and share for more educational videos. Wish you all the best.